YouTube, hey there, it's Casey Dim at TaxSaleAcademy.com. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Tax Sale Podcast. As always, if you enjoy podcasts, there's a link down below. You can check us out, TaxSalePodcast.com. But if you prefer listening to YouTube, that is perfect. Just do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. That way you don't miss out on future tax sale training videos. Let's go ahead and switch on over and record the audio podcast right now. Welcome to the Tax Sale Podcast, where tax sale investing is made easy. My name is Casey Dimon. I'm a tax sale veteran. I'm the leading tax sale expert. I'm the author of the Tax Sale Playbook, founder of the Tax Sale Academy, and I am your host right here on the Tax Sale Podcast. Thank you so much for listening to me on today's podcast episode. This is a completely free podcast and is brought to you through and because of the Tax Sale Academy. If you're looking to learn more about investing in tax-defaulted real estate, just head on over to TaxSaleAcademy.com. Again, that's TaxSaleAcademy.com. On this week's episode of the Tax Sale Podcast, we'll be discussing long-distance tax sale investing. So if you're not familiar with my background, I started investing in the local market, the place where I lived. And then I expanded to another county, and eventually another state, and another state. So I've invested in about a dozen states now and hundreds of different counties. The moment that I expanded into other counties and eventually other states is the moment my income started to grow. Now, I've discussed out-of-area investing in depth on this podcast. Check out episodes 112 and 114 for more information. If you haven't yet listened to those, they're definitely worth the time. But in today's episode, I wanted to go over a few extra tips to help make your out-of-area investing process much, much smoother. It's incredibly easy to get intimidated and overwhelmed when we venture into a new area. I completely get it. So hopefully these tips will make that process much easier. All right, let's get started. I got 5 tips that I want to discuss with you today. The first one is become an online research expert. Become a ninja in online research. And I cannot emphasize this enough. The success of your investment is a direct reflection of your ability to accurately research a property. If you do it right, you'll make money. If you do it wrong, you'll lose money. It's that simple. That's why it's something that I discuss over and over again. Now, when you invest locally, you likely will have some sort of local knowledge. You know that a subdivision is good, or this one is bad. Values over here are increasing, they're decreasing over here. You're gonna have a pretty solid idea of at least the market in general, even if you're not deeply rooted in the real estate there. Now, it just comes natural by knowing that area, by being active, by driving through that area day in and day out. When you start investing out of area, it really throws a wrench into the plan by using your local knowledge so you don't have any. That's why it's so crucial to learn how to research real estate online. When you invest out of area, and truthfully, even locally, but especially out of area, you should become an online research genius. You should know how to use every single tool, every single map, every single program. You should be able to research properties accurately, efficiently, and effortlessly. Now, obviously, that's going to take some time. It takes time to learn how to research. It takes time to figure out all the different websites, especially in the different areas, to learn how to do it and learn how to do it efficiently. All that takes time, and that's okay because it is definitely worth it. Become an online research expert. That is a huge part of your business when you invest out of town. So take the time to do it right. The next tip goes right along with that, and that's to learn the area. And I'm not just talking about the obvious stuff, learn the good parts, the bad parts, all that kind of stuff. Of course that matters, right? But learning it on a much deeper level will help you invest there. Learn the history of the area. Which direction is the city growing? What are the old parts? What are the new parts? Where's the development heading? Then take it a step further and learn about pricing trends, design trends. What's the typical house there? What are the areas of current development, future development? What are the major employers? All that kind of stuff, right? Learn about all the real estate market in general, and then learn about the other factors that contribute some way to that real estate market. What are the laws or the ordinance or the regulations there that impact real estate? What are the property owner's responsibilities there that you might not be familiar with? And then, of course, don't forget the schools. Don't forget the rest of the economy, that kind of stuff. If you learn everything you can about the area up front, it'll make your investments that much easier down the road. The next tip is to use locals. And this is something that took me a few years to realize. Obviously, you can do a lot online nowadays, a lot, especially if you know how to properly utilize the tools available online. But online research won't tell you a few things. It won't tell you that the house in the photo that you found online burned to the ground last week. It won't tell you if the mobile home that's supposed to be there got towed away. It won't tell you if you have squatters in that house, or if that vacant lot is now the community's landfill. It won't tell you if the property is the low spot of the neighborhood and it floods every single time it rains. It won't tell you so much stuff. But as you begin to invest out of area, you might think you have one of two choices. Well, I guess, and hopefully I get it right, hopefully I don't buy the wrong property, or I'll go there myself and I'll figure it out myself. In many cases, those are both the wrong answers. Guessing whether you should invest in something or not is a recipe for disaster. And going to look at a property when it might cost you a lot of money to travel there just isn't smart business. So this is the ideal time to hire a local. And the fact is that it is very easy to hire locals using websites like Craigslist. And if you strategize properly, for example, multiple properties in one area, the cost is usually extremely low for the feedback and the help that you'll be getting. Locals are there, and many could use a few extra bucks. Take advantage of their offers to help. The next one, please keep it simple. This applies to local investments, but certainly your out of area investments too. So many people email me to tell me that although this is my first investment, I think I found a property. Then they'll go on and on for like 4 or 5 paragraphs explaining this crazy, extravagant idea on how they're going to make money with their first tax sale property. Please don't do this. It's so incredibly important to keep it simple. Find that basic, boring, vacant lot that you can make a few bucks off of. Search for that single family house that is just about as cookie cutter as they come. Focus on the simple stuff. The complicated properties are extremely difficult to manage, especially when you're not local. Can you imagine managing a difficult project or going through a series of tasks over and over like a long checklist in order to profit off of an investment? And you're on the other side of the country trying to do this? Sure, the complicated deals might make more money and they might be more readily available when you compare those to the simple ones. But don't fall into that trap. Find the best deals that are very, very simple, very easy to manage, and take advantage of those. Keep it simple. And the last tip today is to move on as needed. And this is one that I myself didn't follow at first. I did well locally, and I realized I needed to expand. So I expanded to another market, and then I stayed there for a bit too long. What I should have done is I should have added on additional markets much faster. There are no laws that say you can't actively invest in this area or that area. You can invest in all 2,000 markets at one time if you're physically capable of doing it. Obviously, we have time, we have capital constraints. But there will be a time to add in additional markets, and that's okay. Do it quickly. There are also going to be times we need to move on from a market when it's no longer bringing you the success that you desire, and that's okay. Do it, make that decision, and move on quickly. So many people get romantic with the idea of finding success and then smothering their own success by doing the same exact thing for far too long. They think that seeing success in one market means they must stay there forever because they found a honey hole. The truth is, there are fantastic markets all over the country. My advice is to find a market that works so you can learn the process behind out-of-area investing and then begin to apply that same process and those same tactics and strategies to many other markets as soon as possible. Expand, grow when confident, of course, and your income is going to do the same. So there are 5 tips to investing out of area. Become an online research wizard. Learn everything possible about the area. Use locals to your advantage. Keep it simple, and then move on as needed. Out of area tax on investing is one of those things that, when done properly, will definitely change the trajectory of your tax sale business and potentially even your life. I truly hope that you've enjoyed this week's podcast episode. As a reminder, we do this podcast completely free, and in exchange, We'd be so very appreciative if you take just a few seconds out of your day to leave us some positive feedback on whatever podcasting platform you're listening to us on. And if we can be of any help in your quest for tax sale success, there are a whole bunch of links in today's show notes, including one to our primary website, which is at taxsaleacademy.com. Thank you so much for listening today. Take care and make it a successful day. See you next time.